Wugira as our guest. Welcome to Politics Tonight. Stay with us. We will be right back. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. The Governor of Adamawa State, Amadu Fintiri, has promised to deliver more dividends of democracy. He made this commitment while addressing the media shortly after INEC declared him winner of the state's governorship election. Owolabi Adenusi files in this report.
Governor Amadu Umaru Fintiri thanks the residents of Adamawa State for entrusting him with their votes for the second term. The governor, in his acceptance speech, promised inclusive government. Fintiri was declared winner of the keenly contested election, having polled 430,821 votes to defeat Senator Aishatu Binani of APC, who scored 396,788 votes.
That Umaru Ahmadu Fintiri of PDP, having satisfied the requirement of the law, is hereby declared the winner and
The announcement was greeted with many supporters of residents in Adamawa trooping out to major streets in Yola, the state capital, to celebrate the re-election. The former Minister of Health, Edie Hong, commended the Independent National Electoral Commission for protecting the nation's constitution. He said that with what INEC did, the vote of common man still counts.
We want to use this opportunity to thank the chairman of INEC for immediately coming out and announcing the disadventure and the criminal behavior of Hutu by declaring an illegal result. We thank him enormously for rescuing democracy and for rescuing peace in Adamawa.
Governor Amadu Fintiri also in his acceptance speech promised to continue with human developmental projects.
You elected to vote for continuity in functional public school system and payment of WAEC and NECO for our children. You voted for continuity in provision of health care and health insurance that makes it easier for the vulnerable to access quality service with ease. You voted for continuity in the provision of urban and rural infrastructure. You voted for continuity of policies that empower our women and youths.
This, though, may not be the last to be heard of the controversial election, as the All Progressives Congress APC candidate Senator Aishatu Binani has gone to court to challenge the outcome of the poll. She had approached the court before INEC officially collected the result and finally announced the winner of the election.
The President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu has congratulated the winners of the supplementary elections held in various states on Saturday, 15th of April. In a statement he personally signed, Tinubu called on those elected to rededicate themselves to the service of their respective constituents. The President-elect also reacted to the controversies that surrounded the Adamawa supplementary governorship election, while calling on those aggrieved to pursue legitimate means of addressing their grievances. He urged political authorities to fully investigate all that transpired given the attendant controversy. Imo State Council of Elders says power will rotate among the 3 senatorial zones in the state to ensure equity and fairness. Presenting their Charter of Equity to Governor Hope Uzodimma, the elders agreed that after his second term, Owerri Zone will be the next in line to produce the governor of the state. The elders also presented an elder statesman, Emmanuel Inyawunya, as their consensus candidate for President General of Ohanaeze Ndigbo to replace late Professor George Obiozo, who died in December 2022. Governor Uzodimma stated that the position of the elders will further douse the political tension in the states.
It is my privilege to present to you the Imo Charter of Equity, unanimously adopted by the Council as a panacea to rancor and heat, usually associated with the quest for the governorship seat of Imo State. The motive behind this well-applauded vision of the Council is to ensure peace, equity, fairness, justice to all the geopolitical zones in the state.
I have no doubt that this charter will douse the political tension in the state. and ensure that no part of the state is cheated or marginalized again, particularly in the distribution of political offices. I am glad that part of the formalization process is the dedication of the Charter of Equity to God through an interdenominational church service. This idea is not only noble, but actually underscores the fact that the Charter is a sincere and honest document, prepared in good faith for the good of all Igbo people.
All right, so let's take a short break, and when we return, it will be time to speak with our guest of the day, who is the Senior Special Assistant to the Governor of Adamawa State and Public Affairs, Sunday Wugira, to discuss the outcome of the 2023 elections in the Northeast State. Please join us again. Welcome back. You're still watching Politics Tonight, digging beyond the headlines. And now to our interview with the guest of the day. I am joined by the Senior Special Assistant to the Governor of Adamawa State and Public Affairs, Sunday Wugira, for discussion on the outcome of the 2023 elections in the Northeast State. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, sir.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
All right. Let's start with the titanic governorship election in Adamawa State. How will you describe it?
Well, describing the election, the governorship election in Adamawa State, is just like a blind man describing an elephant. Wherever you touch, that is where you feel whatever you say about it is just because of what you touch. It is a conglomeration of so many things. It was luckily concluded, but some elements from the beginning, even before the elections, there were signs that the election was actually going to be will of the people would be subverted. You see, we have to put out the narrative as it were from the beginning. Those who are in the state, perhaps those who were following the electioneering campaign, would tell you that there was one fundamental error that every other person in Adamawa State made. The error was the governorship candidate of the APC, in a video, spoke to an audience in full day that this 2023 election, they would coerce people, even if it means stealing the mandate, to ensure that APC is declared winner of the election. A lot of people in the state took this for granted. They never believed that it was for real. They never believed that they would make serious and concerted effort to snatch or undermine or subvert the mandate of the greater majority of the people of Adamawa State. So from the beginning, nobody gave this a thought. It was just like, this is just an electioneering talk to ginger supporters. But eventually, as the events started unfolding, elections were conducted peacefully across the state. There was no issue. People were expectantly waiting for the outcome of the result. And as God will have it also, INEC, unlike the presidential election, they kept to their word and transmitted results on their IRF portal. People were watching. People from the comfort of their homes were downloading results from the IRF and making summations. Another issue also that played out before, I think during the election, the governorship candidate of the APC again stormed the PDP on the Wugira Hills in Yola here, in company of security men.
the Commissioner of Police in charge of Adamawa State was there. The brigade commander was there with some other security chiefs, actually. They stormed the situation room on the allegation or complaint that votes were being printed in the situation room. Perhaps before then, nobody gave it a thought that it was part of a mischief plan or a game plan to ensure that the observation of the results, the collation from the IREF by the PDP before the actual collation by the INEC was being disrupted, so that, of course, to ensure that they achieved their aim of thwarting the will of the people. Secondly, after every other thing, there was nothing found incriminating, but the police, for fear of whatever legal issue that could crop up later on, they brought a search warrant that was signed by our lawyers in the situation room. So, being that as it may, that went by. Nobody made an issue out of it. Nobody gave it a thought. People were just laughing over it, thinking that it was just a political gimmick to just undermine the order, or probably the candidate was misinformed, you know, and she came to prove, to satisfy whatever curiosity she had and whatever complaint she received that there was a massive thumb printing going on in the situation room, which was not to be. After the search, the police even apologized and they insisted that, well, it was part of their job. They hoped that we will understand. Of course, we understood, because we thought, yes, these people are doing their jobs very well. We never knew there was a sinister motive. So from the beginning, before the commencement of polls, we were dealing with a dangerously desperate candidate that was bent on ensuring that, for whatever reason, no matter what, there will be no credible election. Even if there is a credible election, there will be no credible collation. And even if there is a credible collation, there will be no credible declaration out of the results that were collected. But for whatever reason, the candidate of APC and declaration will be made so that whoever that is not satisfied should go to court. But that was not to be. Now, in Adamawa State, it must be emphasized that we are a peaceful people. Over time, we follow our leaders, we respect our leaders, but then we are resolved on what we want, what the greater majority of the people of Adamawa State want, and it usually reflects in our elections in leadership. Some people actually, for a while now, they have been making effort from outside of the state to impose on Adamawa State a leader of their choice, not one that is accepted by the people, not one that is popular amongst the people, not one that people have faith and confidence in. Over time, actually, we've been trying as much as possible to break that decision and reject it in total, which what actually inspired. First and foremost, I want people to know that even the government of the Federation, under the leadership of General Muhammadu Buhari as president, have seen the dividends of democracy delivered by the governor of Adamawa State. Hence, he was even given an award in infrastructural development by an APC government and an APC president. You know, so it was not about politics then. It is a fact and a reality that whoever that will come to Adamawa State from outside, the first thing that that person will see is the massive transformation in Adamawa State. If he was ever in Adamawa State.
With all of this explanation, what factors would you say precipitated such an electoral battle in Adamawa State?
Well, it was just a matter of desperation. Desperation to be a leader, not by the majority of lawful votes, but by the imposition and the muzzling of all institutions and people vested and shouldered with the responsibility of ensuring that the vote of people in Adamawa State counts, particularly INEC. You see, over time, people have been vilifying hoodoo. Hoodoo is just one out of so many legs, you know. There was even a conspiracy there. In fact, it must be a conspiracy from outside of the state, driven by sheer ambition, driven by disdain for the will of the people, driven also by the desire to ensure that the will of the people does not count in any way, which is very sad, which is very reprehensible. Now, the issue that people have been weeping hoodoo alone. Hoodoo did not act alone. Hoodoo acted in concert with other people. He was being prodded by the APC candidate, who is being supported by other forces outside. But in all that Hoodoo did, you know, during the March 18th election, they wanted, the game plan started unfolding on March 18th, during the March 18th election. Perhaps you have heard the audio that went viral, where Hoodoo was discussing with the electoral officer in 448 local government, where they wanted to subvert the will of the people and change the results. Someone walked into the collation center at the local government, took away all the results, gave it out to someone through the window in the presence of policemen, all security personnel, members of the state security service, and army personnel and whatever, civil defense, and walked away. It was after he walked away that the security forces now remembered that they were even having guns. And they started shooting sporadically in the air. So in broad daylight, not even at night. So this went by, and the returning officer of 448 insisted that he was not going to collect any other result until the result that is uploaded on IRF was downloaded, and then recollation is done at the registration area. Collation officers would be brought in to recollect the results downloaded from IRF, which was done. And then it was in the course of that conversation between Hoodoo, the resident electoral commissioner, and the electoral officer of 448 took place, where Hoodoo in Hausa language said he has received a call from a high and mighty person instructing him to make sure that they help that woman. He stated that in Hausa, na samu kira daga wani mutum, babban mutum, wanda yace mu taimaki matan nan. Dan Allah ku taimaki matan nan. So that was the beginning of the drama.
All right. So, Mr. Wugira, the governor has promised to prosecute the people behind the drama if the federal government fails to do that. But the question is, how are we sure this won't be used to punish political opponents?
Well, you see, you have to have a clear picture of the narrative of what transpired. First and foremost, I want you to know that all the security agents, you see, like I was saying, the commissioner of police in Adamawa State, CP Afolabi, he acted responsibly as a policeman. The police must commend CP Afolabi, must give him an award, as we are preparing in Adamawa to give him an award. He is a perfect gentleman and an officer of the law. He knows his onions very well. he stood his ground that the right thing must be done. But all the other security chiefs in Adamawa State, the brigade commander of the army here in Adamawa State, the commandant of the Civil Defense Corps, the SDS, State Director of Security, they were all compromised from the beginning. From the beginning, it was CP Afolabi alone that stood his ground. And perhaps when they could not get what they wanted and they went for we were asked to go for a rerun, they muted and muled another plan where they excused CP Afolabi and asked CP Mohammed Barde from Imo State to come and supervise and superintend over the election, where they perfected the plan to organize and hatch a coup on the people of Adamawa State. Because what transpired on Sunday, the 16th of April, could not be described by any other name and cannot be given any other connotation other than treason. And it was aided and abetted chiefly by CP Mohammed Barde. He was the one that organized everything. And you see, if you get the brief of everything, you get to realize that they gave him protection. They came when it was not even time for the collation to resume, because collation was to resume by 11 a.m. And they came before 9 a.m. Around 8 o'clock, they came with hoodoo. The security chiefs that were there present, the CP Mohammed Barde, the State Director of Security, Bulama, the Commandant of the Civil Defense Corps, Juan Bello, they were all in cahoots with Udu and the candidate of the APC. Because
Mr. Wugira, I would, all right, so, you know, the governor once told us that the APC does not pose any threat in the state, yet he could only win narrowly. What happened?
Well, election is when you have confidence in an election. The issue is you are not in charge of the figures. He was confident of winning because, one, he has delivered. Okay. He has restored peace across Adamawa State. Before his coming in 2019, Adamawa State was like a mini Somalia, you know, a war zone. So he, at the end of the day, ensured that peace was restored in Adamawa State when he took over. He brought back confidence in governance in people. People have confidence in government now than they had before. So assuredly, all the indices of winning an election for an incumbent is there. People of Adamawa State are more united now than they were before now. You know, he brought back unity, he unified people, he brought back development in every facet. Talk about security, talk about education, talk about agriculture, talk about infrastructural development, talk about rural development, talk about integration, talk about whatever, health, you know, a lot of
what factors
differences.
In your view,
people now are beginning to see
what factors in your
government
view
and governance
aided,
is inadequate.
What factors in your view aided the party's victory?
Hello, please come again.
What factors aided the party's victory in Adamawa State?
These are the factors that aided Pinteri's victory in Adamawa State. Like you asked before, why the margin is slim. The margin is not slim. The margin, as far as we are concerned, is wide. Taking into cognizance the shenanigans that took place. Now, it is obvious that some of the votes that the APC candidate even garnered during the election or in the election, they may not be actual votes. Taking into cognizance what has transpired. But you see, before before all these things, the indices were there. One, the APC candidate, mind you, is also a contractor of the Independent National Electoral Commission, who printed sensitive materials for INEC as an umpire and as a candidate.
All right, so
now,
Mr. Wugira,
that
so
issue was raised,
these
and
factors,
INEC responded.
All right, so despite these factors, why was the election very hard for the governor to win?
It wasn't very hard for the governor to win. It was a walkover, you know, but for these interferences, our election would have been concluded even before the, without even the rerun, the supplementary poll, because the supplementary poll, as far as we are concerned, was of no moment. It was needless. It was a waste of resources. It was an attempt to thwart the will of the people of Adamawa State. After all said and done, all the votes that could be casted at the supplementary poll is just slightly over 15,000 votes, when someone was leading with more than 31,000. So what was the basis? It was needless. It was a waste of resources. It was a waste of time, and it was just a ploy to burn down Adamawa State, which, to the glory of God, today we have overcome that. You know, some people feel that even if it means burning down the people and the properties they intend to govern, they will just be happy to govern over ashes, which is so sad and unfortunate. But like I said, in Adamawa State, we are a sensible people. We are a peaceful people, and we have overcome that. Now it is all history. Declaration has been made. The governor of Adamawa State has been declared and returned elected. In fact, this evening, he has collected the certificate of return. For the next 4 years, life goes on.
Mr. Wugira, with all of these factors you have listed, why was the governor able to win narrowly?
Well, the issue of narrowly winning is not an issue. It is of no moment. The fundamental thing is he has won, and we are comfortable with that. The victory actually did not come easy, because there were armada of forces against that victory. That victory is not for the governor of Adamawa State. That victory is for the people of Adamawa State. That victory is for democracy. That victory is for the rule of law, because we have seen clearly that we have elements whose only goal is to ensure that they win elections by all means. All right. All the forces were there, all the antecedents were there.
All right, so, Mr. Wugira, you know, before now,
the fact that we have to take responsibility for what happened.
All right, so before now, Mr. Wugira, before now, you ruled out some allegations against the APC candidate. So let me also get your reaction to some of the accusations against your party. Senator Binani also alleged that Governor Fintiri colluded with some government officials to rig the election. Will you say the election was free and fair?
Well, the election was free and fair. The collation was transparent. Everything was done in the glare of everyone, and it was commendable. But for the interregnum, where some elements headed by prodded, headed by Hoodoo. Hoodoo is just being a man Friday. There are so many forces behind Hoodoo. He wouldn't have acted the way he acted if he was not confident of the fact that he will not go scot-free. And but you see, there is no perfect crime, and that was why it failed. The Commissioner of Police, Mohammed Barde, the State Director of Security, Bulama, the Commandant of the Nigerian Civil Defense Corps,
Mr. Wugira, you have made this point earlier, so let's quickly move on because of time. So, how will you describe the support of the
Pardon, I didn't get that.
How will you describe the support of the PDP presidential candidate Atiku for the party regarding the election? And was it significant?
Very, very significant. Very, very significant. Because it was his support that even broke the camel's back. That is fundamental. No one will take that away from former Vice President and the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, the Waziri Adamawa. Nobody will take away that. He had to call a press conference. You know, he called out INEC to do the needful before they now realized that they could not get away with what they were cooking. And at the end of the day, they had to insist that the election was not conclusive, that there must be a rerun election. So it was his own stand, his firm stand, you know, that gave credence what the people of Adamawa State were saying and the government of Adamawa State. Eventually, even after the rerun, when Udu pulled that reasonable act by unilaterally in connivance and conspiring with the security chiefs in Adamawa State, who were vested with the responsibility to protect lives and properties, that he went and announced and declared result, because that cannot even be a declaration. He went and made an announcement, you know, that here is a winner holding a piece of paper.
Wugira, I must say we still have a lot to discuss this night, but let's take a short break and we'll be back for more. Please stay with us.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. I still have the Senior Special Assistant to the State Governor on Public Affairs, Sunday Wugira, as we discuss the outcome of the 2023 elections in Adamawa State. All right, Mr. Wugira, because you have tried, to touch on this at different time in the course of our discussion, so let's bring this to the front burner. The governor said he didn't contest against Binani, but powerful forces in Abuja. What exactly was he saying?
Well, you see, no one would ever have the courage, have the muzzle to pull what was pulled in Adamawa State if there is no backing from outside of Yola here. And even the security chiefs that acted the way they acted, they just acted like vigilantes and not responsible security men. And heads for that matter. They must have the backing of people outside of Adamawa State. Let me give you an example. When Afolabi stood his ground, CP Afolabi stood his ground that the right thing must be done, they could not get away with what they wanted to do. And there was even an argument between CP Afolabi and the brigade commander of Adamawa State at that time. So, when they realized that he was the only one that was constituting a clog into their wheel of mischief, they eased him out and brought a pliable security head in the person of CP Mohammed Barde to come and perpetrate violence on the people of Adamawa State. In consonance, in conspiring amongst themselves to foist a government or someone that was not elected by majority of local votes in Adamawa State as governor-elect. So it was not the candidate of APC, not at all.
All right.
The candidate of APC as an individual would have been overridden long before now. Long before now. But you see, it was even a conspiracy beyond Adamawa State.
Right.
If you remember, the British High Commission here that is in Lagos even sent a congratulatory message that the candidate of APC was elected as the first female governor.
All right.
What
so,
was their
many Nigerians thought...
So it is even a conspiracy beyond Nigeria.
All right. So, Mr. Wugira, many Nigerians thought Adamawa would produce the country's first elected female governor. But obviously that didn't happen. How will you react to this?
Well, I am a son. For sure, everybody must know that. My mother is alive. I have tremendous respect for my mother. I have a wife that I love so much, that I have regard and respect for her person. She has given a lot of her life to ensure that my life becomes better. I have a daughter that I cherish, and I wish that, and I believe she will provide leadership for Nigeria in time to come. But you see, leadership is a virtue. You take over leadership by violence. You want to pretend over a people through democratic means, but not through the normal democratic process, but through the violent means. As far as I am concerned, I feel ashamed that a woman whom we always believe are good for everyone demonstrated that, in fact, in terms of political chicanery, in terms of political rascality, they are even better than men. And this has dampened the desire by people to have even a woman leader anymore. It is a minus for the female gender, reprehensibly. And for me, I had to take my time to tell my daughter and my wife that this is just an exception to women.
So another very important question, Mr. Wugira, is some analysts say PDP won because some APC bigwigs supported the PDP candidate. How much support did you get from aggrieved APC members?
We got support of the people of Adamawa State across parties. It is not about aggrieved people. It is about people who have desire, who believe Adamawa State must get better. Because the governor of Adamawa State has given the best for the people of Adamawa State in the last 4 years. And everybody is desirous of continuing and building on this development. Across party lines, even those that are apolitical, they are in support of the governor. So it is not about getting support of people, aggrieved parties in the APC. We have the support of people across all the political parties in Adamawa State, even amongst those that are not political. So it is about development. Nobody will go for what is not what he is not sure of, as we say in Hausa, that babu wanda zai sake reshe ya kama ganye. So in Adamawa State, whoever that will not support PDP, whoever that will not support Governor Fintiri as an individual, as the governor of Adamawa State, assuredly his desire is not for the development and progress of Adamawa State, but about self-aggrandizement.
All right,
and so that is what we
in the National Assembly elections, PDP won 2 senatorial seats while APC got 1. In the House of Reps, PDP won 7 and APC 1. Why was PDP unable to replicate this dominance in the governorship election?
Well, what you are supposed to know is that in the presidential election, what transpired is just different, and that is to tell you that in Adamawa State, we cherish and value democracy. People have the right and desire to vote and go for whoever they want. If it were to be the wish of the PDP, we would have completely PDP candidates winning all the elections in Adamawa State. But we believe that let our people decide, let them be. And that was why people had to go for candidates outside of the PDP. And that is fine. Our concern and desire is that democracy thrives. Our belief is that everyone should be represented by whom he believes will represent him well.
All right.
It is not about party.
All right. So there are also talks that the only reason Governor Fintiri was so much under pressure was due to his underperformance. How will you react to this, Mr. Wugira?
Due to his own... Pardon, I didn't get that.
There are also reports that the reasons Governor Fintiri was so much under pressure was due to his underperformance. How will you react to that?
Well, when you talk about underperformance, if you come to Adamawa State, perhaps you've never been to Adamawa State. You come to Adamawa State, now whoever that will tell you that there is no development in Adamawa State, perhaps does not know what development is all about. You see, we have different understanding about what development is. Even God that has created us in this world, there are people who have different understanding on who God is. So that is just it. God forbid that we all think the same. God forbid that we all agree on one thing, all of us. It will become something else. So people who do not like development will say Fintiri underdeveloped Adamawa State. People who do not like the progress we have witnessed will tell you that there is no progress in Adamawa State. People who do not cherish the peace that we have in Adamawa State will tell you that Adamawa is not peaceful. People who do not cherish the development we have had in the educational sector will tell you that we are getting backward. Right. People who do not like and cherish the development, the stride we have registered and witnessed in the health sector will tell you that there is no development in the health sector. But people who are in Adamawa State, people who believe in progress, people who appreciate what development is, will tell you that Adamawa State has changed, and to the glory of God, Adamawa will never be the same again.
All right, so let's get back to the outcome of the elections. Most of these results are still being challenged at the tribunal. Now, with the way the elections went, how confident are you about retaining those seats?
Well, we have no issue about somebody going to court. That is very good. If you can see, even with the Pyrrhic victory and the shambolic announcement of a winner of an election when the process was not concluded, the candidate of the APC and the APC went to court. They were before the Federal High Court, and luckily and rightly so, the presiding judge of the Federal High Court, where they went, asked the counsel, the applicants, to address him as to whether he has jurisdiction to entertain those civil common law remedies they went to seek before the Honorable Court. Now, that matter has been taken by events. The next thing that they will do is certainly they will have to withdraw their application. And their next port of call perhaps would be the tribunal. Right. Now, the question is, as a lawyer, what would be their prayer? What would be their grounds for challenging the election in Adamawa State? Are they going as those that were robbed of victory, having been so shambolically declared? Where are they going to get the result sheet that they will rely on? You know, and who is going to certify the result sheet? In whose custody is that result sheet? The form EC8E that they are going to rely on to go to court to demonstrate that they were returned as elected. Right. You know, so now, these are some of these things. You begin to wonder if truly we are in the wake.
All right, Mr. Wugira, let's talk about another very interesting development, which is Senator Elisha Abo of the APC, continues to maintain his grip on Adamawa North Senatorial District. Why is he able to beat the PDP even with the influence of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar?
Well, there are things that you don't say on the screen of television. I am from Mubi local government. We are from the same local government with Senator Elisha Abo, from the same zone, the northern zone. A lot transpired. here before the court. I wouldn't want to talk much what has transpired, and I wouldn't want to talk about the fact. In the course of time, the whole world will get to know. And we are still moving. If God spares our lives, things will unfold. And at the end of the day, we will see the lie that is being bandied over time.
So are you indirectly saying Senator Abo is a very popular politician?
Well, if popularity is what makes someone win election, then there are so many people that would win election simply because they are popular. It is beyond that. And some victories, like I said, they are not victories in the real sense of it. I wouldn't want to go further into that. I am a lawyer. This matter is before the tribunal. After the whole issue, after the tribunal has finished and concluded on this matter, we will talk, and people will get to know what actually transpired and what we have.
All right,
people will see the lie in bandit, like I said.
All right. Let's talk about the task of governance after the election. How does the government intend to bring the people together after such a divisive election?
Well, if the governor, in the person of Right Honorable Ahmadu Umaru Fintiri, has not unified the people of Adamawa, perhaps what was staged between March 18th and April 15th and 16th, it would have succeeded, and would have been having a different history now. One thing you must know, that Governor Fintiri is being loved by them. It is not because I serve under his government or I am serving under his government. No, that is the reality. Right. You may not like him, you may not like him as a person, but take it or leave it. Governor Fintiri is a leader. Governor Fintiri has unified us in Adamawa State. He has given everyone a sense of belonging. He has identified with every community in Adamawa State. There is no one single community in Adamawa State where the presence of government is not felt.
So the governor has also promised more dividends of democracy. The governor has also promised more dividends of democracy in his second term. What should the people be expecting?
Well, people have confidence that more will come. That is why they supported him. That is why you've seen the massive support. And I'm telling you, he will not fail at the master. And that is why, even during the electioneering campaign, he was given a distinction between political participation and governance. He was delivering the dividends of democracy even in the course of campaigns. He will run from helter. He was running helter-skelter, delivering the dividends of democracy. We have to accept the fact that he has not given much publicity for himself about the extent of his deliverance of governance in Adamawa State.
All right.
And by the time the real light is beamed on what he has done for Adamawa State from 2019 to 2023, I am telling you, people will be amazed, and that will be done.
So, in his acceptance speech, Governor Fintiri also said no one would be left behind in his administration. Does that include his closest opponent, Senator Aisha Binani?
Of course, no one before now has been left behind. No stone has been left unturned. That has been the slogan, and that will continue to be the slogan. Adamawa belongs to everyone. Adamawa is everyone that is in Adamawa State must be carried along. We don't segregate. We don't go on our separate ways because of politics. And this has been his watchword over time. He has been telling everyone who cared to listen, there is a difference between politicking and governance. Governance, he has taken an oath to govern Adamawa State as a governor without fear or favor, ill will or affection. And when he appears before his God, he is going to answer that as an individual. If he segregates, if he excludes, if he ostracizes, and if he fights whoever. So
Mr.
he has
Wugira,
been
quickly before we
exemplary.
go. Quickly before we go, now some APC members accused the governor of flooding the collation center with security agents to manipulate the result. I would like you to react to that.
Well, we have seen what has happened. Even with the presence of security heads, there was a shambolic announcement, which did not stand the test of time. People assuredly were boiling as a result of what transpired. And you cannot take chances with people, whether they are your own children or they are not your own children. And you cannot be too sure with what one crazy person can create where there is laxity. Confidence gives way to conspiracy. So steps must be taken to ensure that lives and properties were secured. Yes, the venue of the collation was flooded with security men. Collation was done peacefully. No one was coerced. No life was lost. Nothing was destroyed. Nothing happened. So why all this blame? He has a duty to ensure everyone in Adamawa State is secured, and that was done. And now everyone...
Mr. Wugira, sadly we're out of time, but I must thank you very much. Thank you so much for coming on Politics Tonight. I've been speaking with a senior special assistant to the state governor on public affairs, Sunday Wugira, as we focus on the outcome of the 2023 elections in Adamawa State. Thank you very much for coming on Politics Tonight, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for watching. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight. But the conversation continues from here. Get in touch with us on Twitter at TVC News NG and at Olajumokedobu or using the hashtag Politics Tonight. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Join us for the repeat episode at midnight and tomorrow for another edition of Politics Tonight. Digging beyond the headlines. I am Olajumoke Olatuji. Goodbye.
Did you know that a quarter of the world's deaths from malaria is in Nigeria? And the reason being a mosquito that spreads malaria, a disease that puts everyone's life in